Nanananana leader. Nanananana leader.
Nanananana leader. Nanananana leader. Leader. Batman. Leader.
All right, guys. Welcome to Fighting for Liberty. I am Jason James, of course. Wow. As the title would predict, what the heck is going on here? Uh-oh, you got YouTube's playing in the background. Sorry about that. Hi. Yeah. We're here now. I'm sorry it's been 2 weeks. Hell, I was going to do a podcast last night. I usually do them on Mondays, and I know it's been a couple of weeks since I've done one. I've been drinking this in. Yeah, like all of you. Just trying to figure out just what the hell's going on, man. It was a crazy weekend in Ottawa, of course. Yeah, there's so much to talk about. I was gonna, like I said, I was gonna do one last night, and then that vote happened. So let's get into it. I brought my trusty my bullshit mug, so we can dive into some bullshit. Okay. So the Emergency Measures Act is stayed, as it were, I guess you call it. Last night they did a vote, and it was 185 to 151. Yay for it! Thank you very much, Jagmeet and the NDP, for making that possible. We had the Bloc and the Conservatives together, if you can believe that. Yeah, they usually typically really don't like each other, and they decided to be buddies on this one. I mean, if anything, you can build a relationship on that, not wanting a tyrannical government. That's somewhere I think you can start a relationship. So maybe there's good things in the future for the Bloc and the Conservatives. Who knows? I guess we'll see. So what does this all mean? Well, the Emergencies Act is obviously sweeping powers for Justin Trudeau to do basically whatever the hell he wants at this point. If you haven't been reading, if you haven't been hearing about what's been already happening, then you may be living under a giant rock, and you need to get out from underneath that rock and pay attention to what's going on. So as we know, the convoy was broken up this weekend, and violently, and it wasn't the protesters that were violent. I mean, man, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to hate me saying that, but too bad, because if you guys remember correctly, a couple years ago, we had some pipeline protesters that were firebombing trains, blocking tracks, actually creating unsafe conditions for workers, actually creating unsafe conditions for business owners, and not letting commerce through with threat of violence. And the Emergency Act wasn't levied against them, no, and the cops were definitely doing a hands-off approach, 100%. What did they do? They sent a delegation down there to discuss some kind of a settlement with them, and came to an agreement. And that, my friends, is how diplomacy works. Just a little history lesson on diplomacy. So what did we do this time? We don't like these people's jib. We don't like the cut of their jib politically. So we're going to fabricate, if you will, an emergency. And wouldn't you know it, before the Emergencies Act was even implemented, most of the convoy and most of the border crossings were cleared, right? Non-violently. The protesters themselves were nonviolent, and in the first initial cases, there wasn't any violence needed to be used against the protesters to clear them, which means that the provinces were more than capable of doing it without having federal help, which Jason Kenney, mentioned when Coots got taken down. So, and not Winnipeg, Webster's? I don't know. I can't remember the name of the place in Manitoba, the other border crossing that was taken down as well, peacefully. Right? There was no need for violence there. But in the capital, that's a different story, bro. The leader, nanananana leader, that's what I'm going to call him now. He went ahead and said, "Hey, you guys are now it's now an occupation." It starts using very, very militaresque terminology to scare the general public into believing that there's actually an occupation of people there that are ne'er do wells and aren't helping in any way by being there. They had to fabricate charges. And this one I love is mischief. And I when I hear the word mischief, I don't know if it's just me, but I think of like Dennis the Menace, like some kid chasing a cat through the neighbor's rose bed kind of mischief. But fabricated this charge that would be used um, on the protesters and the truckers that were there parked, because parking tickets obviously aren't scary enough to invoke the Emergencies Act. So we're going to use mischief as a trumped up charge, and let's be honest, it is. Mischief over 5,000, I believe, is what they're calling it. Okay, show me the receipt of the mischief. I want to see point for point on this receipt. Where's the mischief? Well, how much is $5,000 or over $5,000 worth of mischief? And how does one get to said number? They don't ever show you that. That's it's a collective number of all the damage you've done. Oh, so I'm on the hook for everything essentially. So that's how we're gonna make that work. So then they sent in the goon squad, as it were, to clear up the streets down there. I knew that this was going to be inevitable because the police chief prior to a week ago, a different man who just kind of upped and left, quits, right? And what I have to say to that is, if you're in a position where your bosses might be asking you, and I know there's probably a lot of pressure to be on this person, but just hear me out. If you're in that position and somebody's asking you to do something you don't want to do, and it's obvious that was what was happening, right? Go in there and clear this out and use any means necessary to do so. Don't worry, we'll cover for you. We have your back. And obviously, the old police chief said, I don't want to do any of that. I don't think that's right. So he steps down. Initially, I was like, okay, well, he obviously was asked to do something that he didn't want to do. And here I was like an idiot thinking, good luck finding somebody who's going to want to do that job. Well, they had somebody waiting, like a moron. I thought that, what was I thinking? So they had somebody already lined up who was going to toe the company line, albeit the liberal line, of these guys are occupying Ottawa illegally. So let's crack some skulls. Let's get that riot gear on. Let's get cops from all over the country to deal with this problem. And he doesn't stop there. He says, hey, why don't you go home? And it makes it sound like if you go home, all is forgiven. And for a group of people that all they wanted to do was talk to somebody, just have a conversation, some dialogue with the government. That's all they wanted. That was the least you could have done, I thought, is, you know what? They didn't get what they wanted, so at least let them go home with pride. He says, sure, y'all can go home with your pride, but I'm probably going to chase you for the next few months and charge you with mischief, and we're going to freeze your bank accounts if you donated to the cause. So, and not even people that were at the convoy, not just the truckers themselves, freezing their bank accounts of whatever money they have left, even though they haven't been working, as we all know. But if you donated to this cause, your bank account can be frozen. All your assets can be frozen. That's crazy. The fact that we're allowing this to happen is crazy. How we got here, I don't know. I do know we have to bear some responsibility for all this. That's crazy, man. That's wow. So you can't, and literally wrong think, right? We're charging you with wrong think, donating to a cause which in the beginning didn't have any political driver behind it. It was just people wanting to be free, and anybody who would listen to them, they would talk to. That was the whole point. And here we are now. This is the hellscape we've found ourselves in. Not letting the people go home after you said you would, and then saying you're going to make no mistake, we're going to identify you and we're going to charge you. Like it's January 6th insurrection type shit. When none of that happened. Man, I don't know. So convoy is dispersed. Okay. How did that happen? Well, send in the clowns. Those laffy daffy clowns. Send in the clowns. I'm gonna have a sip of this bullshit here before we dive into this. Send in the clowns. Okay. So I did a video before 2 weeks ago. I'm sure none of you saw it. But in that video, I talked about people not forgetting, having no remorse for injustices caused by law enforcement, because that's law enforcement is held to the highest standard when it comes to following the law, right? Nobody is above the law, except the law, I guess. So we had them beating, batoning, pepper spraying, tear gas canistering, stampeding over, old lady and walker, every kind of horrible news clipping you could imagine that the media didn't pick up on, by the way, and we'll get to that. Didn't pick up on it. They just decided that we're going to go with whatever the OPP says on their Twitter account, which is we weren't using violence against the protesters. They were using violence against us. And it's like, wow, that was slick what you just did there. I read it. I was just like, is this real? Listen, is this a blue checkmark certified Twitter account of the OPP? And it was. Pardon me. They basically just turned around what was actually happening and posted that. And people went, oh, see, it is the convoy. They are violent. Holy fuck, man. That was good. That was some nice, that was. Except the problem is there's so much footage of you doing the violence and you bringing the violence to a protest that was non-violent from the very beginning up until the day you got there. Yeah, I mean, if you didn't watch mainstream media and you watched everything else, you were horrified. But if you watch mainstream media and actually believed what they were saying, you would have thought that the convoy was a bunch of violent extremists, insurrectionists, by the way that they were spinning this. It was disgusting, to say the least. Media, I don't know what your deal is, but I mean, a Rebel News reporter got shot in the leg with a fucking canister that they allegedly didn't even use, right on camera while she's getting batoned in the fucking head. I'm like, okay, we watch a horse run over two people, one of them being a nice old lady. I think she's a Sioux den mother. Yeah. And she had a walker. Says that, well, the media says and the police say that she must have thrown a bicycle at the horse. No, bitch, that was her walker. Okay. When you look at the overhead view of the trampling, is what I call it, the trampling. You can clearly see this lady's walker, because she has a hard time walking because she's old. And that was ran over with her because she was using the walker to stand the fuck up. So I have to laugh. I'm sorry. If you guys think I'm being insensitive, I am absolutely not. I feel like an exposed nerve right now. There's a collective anxiety in the world, and I feel it like nobody's business. When this kind of thing is happening, and there's actually people out there that are drinking the Kool-Aid. They're eating this up and going, man, look at those insurrectionists. Look at those white supremacists. Still using all those tropes. My God, you're not getting tired of that yet? Nope. We're going to keep using them because allegedly they work enough that they can get enough support to continue doing this bullshit. But anyway, that's here nor there. Media, sad that they can't come to the protest freely and report on what's going on, and they wonder why. This one makes me laugh because all you've done for 2 years up until this point is demonized anybody with differing opinions, taking them out of context, calling them ad hominem attacks, and trying to destroy their lives by doxing them, among other things that you've done. And this convoy is no different. You've gone hard in the paint on this one. And you wonder why they don't want you there. You get shouted away, not physically shoved away, not shit thrown at you, right? just told to leave, and you guys whine like you're being persecuted. You're being persecuted like the Jews. No, that's not it at all. Everybody there knows what you're about now. They're on to you. And I understand that you are sad about that, but don't fucking come off as, oh, woe is me. Everybody here hates me because I'm just doing my job. And your job, man, you've done a great job of making everybody hate you. Let's just put it that way. That's all I can say. You're disgusting to me, to everybody that's involved in this freedom protest, and everybody that supports it, believes that you, along with the tyrannical government, are the problem right now. And I don't know how you fix that. I don't know if you can fix that. I don't know. But as far as the media is concerned, I have no I have no sympathy for you. I have no sympathy for the police, and I have no sympathy for the media, and I have no sympathy for the Liberal Party and our political system as a whole right now, because there were people that could have said something long ago. And here's a point I want to make. And I'll start off with this. Where were the Conservatives the last 2 years? Now, I'm not expecting them to do something the first 2 weeks of COVID, saying, hey, 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and it didn't flatten the curve, or we still had to stay remaining in lockdowns, and they should have jumped up and said lockdowns don't work. We didn't know the science yet. Myself, like most other people, were a little fearful of a disease we didn't know anything about, and science hadn't caught up to what was going on with it. So I wasn't expecting it then. But where were you 6 months ago, 8 months ago? When we started seeing science that wasn't favorable in the corner of lockdowns. Like, why weren't you saying something then? And I'm not saying jumping up like you did in the last 2 weeks, or 2 weeks before the convoy got to Ottawa, or no, I should say a week before the convoy got to Ottawa, you started saying things. And then when they got there, you started up with the rhetoric and everything that we need to get rid of the lockdowns. You remember that, Pierre Poilievre and Candice Bergen coming out and saying, hey, we need to, you ditch Aaron O'Toole, great move. And then you start saying the right things, and it's like, okay, well, it's better late than never. And we've talked about this on the show. Where were you 6 to 8 months ago? If you would have started this conversation 6 to 8 months ago, I have a feeling we wouldn't even be here right now. I have a feeling that this dialogue would have started people's mind thinking that maybe this isn't working anymore. Maybe we do need to reassess the situation, and maybe think about dropping mandates that are destroying people's livelihoods, that are destroying people's lives and families and friends. Everything. Maybe if you'd have done that. But now you're in a position where you're fighting an uphill battle against the Emergency Measures Act, which that's going to be a tough one. That's exactly what we didn't want to happen, and it kind of got allowed to happen. And I'm really upset that we allowed that, or that they allowed that, I should say. Where do we go from here now? And I don't have an answer for that. I really wish I did. I really wish I knew. I have so many ideas, thoughts, emotions running through my head. I don't know. Time for some bullshit. Yeah, that's the stuff. I don't know exactly what to think anymore. The country that I grew up in, the country that I used to love knowing I was from when I traveled. I was so glad to tell people I was Canadian. I don't know where that country went. I don't know what to feel anymore now. I was in a lot of despair the last 2 weeks about the outcome of this, and I really wanted to do a video for you guys. I really did, but I didn't know how to. I didn't even know how to start. So, what do you think? I'm genuinely curious to know what you guys think. I know it's a sad time. I understand that, and even people that are for the Emergencies Act are even saying, and I can't even wrap my head around why you would be, because Canada was not built on is not built on tyranny, is not built on a dictatorship. It's a democracy, and allowing one person to have all the power, it goes against everything, every fiber in the fabric that is Canada, I should say. And wanting this, and knowing that the crisis, the fabricated crisis that they created to justify this is over. They're using the prospect that it could pop up again. Well, when does that end? Well, I'll tell you when. If you're using that as your narrative, it's never. This is forever until something is done. And I don't know what that something is. People can speculate, and I'd love to hear you guys' ideas on what can be done. I know that this is tabled until Monday, and I don't know what happens Monday. Candice Bergen's going to say things, and Pierre Poilievre is going to say things, right? And that'll be that. I don't think that's going to change anything. I don't think you're going to have a mass exodus of NDP, premiers walking across the aisle. God knows they should have. If they knew it was good for them, they should have. But they didn't, and they like being, I guess they like being the Liberals' lapdog. Talk a lot of smack about the Prime Minister, and then when it comes time to vote, they vote with him because he protects them. He makes sure that their party doesn't get fragmented, because if the Conservatives ever do get back in, and I don't know when they could possibly get back in at this pace. If they do, then it's going to be bad news for the NDP, I guess. I don't know. But you could have struck a chord maybe with the NDP saying, hey, we don't want a dictatorship. Are you down with that? And I think the NDP would have said, no, we're not. And even if we disagree on every other policy, because I'm a New Democrat and you're a conservative, we can at least agree on the fact that we don't want a fucking dictator, right? Especially a petulant child, narcissist dictator, right? Can we agree on that? We can? Oh, great. So then we can probably form a relationship based on that, even if we don't agree on anything else. I'm just saying, guys, if you're in dire straits, right? You're at your wit's end. You need to start thinking outside the box. Okay? Because everything traditionally that was supposed to be a stopgap against this kind of behavior, against this kind of tyranny, hasn't worked. FYI. I don't know if you realize that, but it hasn't worked. And now we're in a position we never wanted to be in. And I love Justin when you say, hey, I never wanted to do this. And it's okay to disagree with me. He says this yesterday. This was classic Justin Trudeau. Hey, I want you to disagree with me, and you should be allowed to, and you should be able to peacefully protest. But I'm going to invoke the Emergency Measures Act, and I'm going to make sure nobody can protest ever again. And if you protest for the wrong side, I'm going to fucking freeze your bank accounts, and I'm going to seize your assets, your vehicles, maybe your house, especially your money for sure. And Chris, you're feeling, and we're going to stop people from being able to donate with crypto too. So we're going to ask the crypto company. Bitch, you don't know how cryptocurrency works. I laughed my ass off so hard. There's a company called Nunchuck. I think it's called Nunchuck. And they're a cryptocurrency provider or whatever. And they sent a scathing letter. I suggest you look it up. And at the end of the letter, basically it's just saying, you don't know how cryptocurrency works, bitch. We don't have anybody's personal information. That's how this works. And why does crypto exist? Why do you think crypto exists? Crypto exists for this very moment in time, for fucking tyrannical governments using fiat currency as a way of controlling the masses. Cryptocurrency makes it so they can't do that. In an emergency, you can use your crypto where the government can't touch it. That's the whole point. That's why these people that run these sites don't have anybody's personal information. So you can sue as many people as you want, as many of these cryptocurrency providers as you want, but they will give you nothing because they have nothing to give you, you moron. And they ended the letter with, and go fuck yourself. And I laughed so hard. I should have found it before. Sorry, guys. Maybe I'll do it on another video. But yeah. So they don't even know how crypto works. They're just like, hey, go after the crypto too while you're at it. Oh, that sounds like a great idea. And it ends up not working out very good for you because you have no idea how it works, which I think that's great. How detached are you from society that you thought that, oh, crypto is just another currency that we can just tax and be in control of. And believe you me, they're going to try and control, and they might gain control of this someday. But it's out in the what am I trying to? I'm just a stuttering fool here. It's in the metaverse. Maybe is that a good whatever? It's out there on the internet. The internet's this huge, vast. It's like the universe, right? It keeps going forever, and all these people's cybercurrency, Bitcoin and stuff like that is just floating out there. I sound like such a fucking boomer right now. That was brutal. Let's get past this point. This topic sucks for me. I just had an epic brain fart. Hey, need more of the bullshit. Here we go. Okay. The video is getting a little long. I just wanted to say one more thing before I let you guys go and tackle your Tuesday after a beautiful family day of. But if we're gonna hold people accountable, there was a well-known hacker. I don't know if you saw this fucking gem of a human being. He's got like 3 different colored hair, and he's very effeminate. And he claims that he was the one that doxed GiveSendGo, doxed all the people that were on GiveSendGo, and he screams at the top of his lungs on a video. And I probably should have found this video too, guys. Sorry, I'm just spitballing everything today. But anyway, this guy goes and doxes people's personal information on the internet, which is now available to the government. People that donated to the convoy. And he gloats about it by yelling into the screen like, "I fucking did it! I fucking did it! I did!" And I was just like, okay, you couldn't get him more. That guy couldn't have admitted to this any louder. And I don't see him getting thrown in jail for stealing people's identities and doxing them, because I'm pretty sure that's a felony, if I'm not mistaken. Now, if you're on the right side, you get to beat, you get to seize, and you get to blatantly steal people's identity. And I just want you to realize and then fully admit you're doing it, to no repercussions whatsoever. No accountability, zero accountability on their part. I just want you to understand the world we're living in right now, and why we need, like I was saying before, to think outside the box. When traditional means of protest, when traditional means of fighting a supposed democracy that's now is now a dictatorship isn't working, you need to start thinking outside the box. And you're like, well, okay, Jay, so what do we do? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm just saying we need to think outside. That's all I'm saying. Just I'm going to think on it, and I want you guys to think on it. And maybe I'll run for. We can't run for governor. There's no governors here. See, that's how good I'll be at politics, guys. Maybe run for MLA. I don't know. Who knows? But that is one thing you can do is try and get into politics. I'm not condoning getting into politics if you're not really willing to take that plunge and have your life put under a microscope, and then dig for every mean tweet and Facebook post you ever did. And I've got several, but I don't care at this point. Whatever. I'm doing these videos, right? So, but just think about that. Think about maybe how you can invoke some kind of positive change through some avenue that we haven't exhausted yet, or even seen. Maybe it's out there. Maybe there's the answer out there. Just think about it. So I want you guys to try and enjoy the rest of your week. All right. I know I've had a ton of anxiety over this. I know a lot of my friends, family, everybody I've talked to, strangers that I've talked to about this, whether they're for it or against it, are feeling a collective anxiety over this. And we need to have more dialogue, and ideas, spawn from having conversations, maybe with people you don't agree with. Maybe we need to do that more. Well, I know we do need to do that more. So let's do that more. Talk to each other, judge less, be open to new ideas, get out of your bubbles a little bit. I'm steadfast in being against all this, but maybe that's how you think outside the box, is talking to people that don't agree with you. I don't know, but I'm going to try it. And I suggest you guys do too. And put your phone down at night. Everybody needs good sleep. I've been having an issue with that. There's just so much going on, and so much. There's so many people covering this from all angles, and here I am doing the same thing, telling you to put your phone down. But watch my video first before you do. I'm telling you, I'm calming you down before I put you to bed right now. All right, it's just you and me. Calm down, just relax. I'm rubbing your shoulders virtually right now. Just relax. Tomorrow's a new day. You know, sun's gonna come up tomorrow. We got a shit ton of snow here the other day. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That's okay. It'll melt. It'll melt eventually. Spring's around the corner. Yeah, right. But just like I said, guys, do good by each other. Keep your family and your friends close in this time of need, and everybody is in need right now. No matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, this is all new ground. So let's be good to each other. I am Jason James. This is Fighting for Liberty. Stay strong, stay proud, and of course, stay free, guys. See you soon.